I mean, there's nothing wrong with always trying to look at the bright side, I suppose, be a glass half full sort of person. Maybe that rubs off and produces good things. But given that this team just finished 28th in the 30-team league, has been out of the playoffs for 8 straight years now, forgive me, but McTavish's sentiments, his words on Tuesday seemed to me to be out of place, when he faced the media and by extension the public, the fans. So Joanne and John, you both wrote about this today. Was that what came across at the conference?
I would temper it by saying there was definitely a degree of optimism, or probably more sort of staying the course. But, I think we'd be remiss in not saying that he's quite aware that there were problems with that team. He wasn't completely painting a bright and rosy picture. But, yeah, there's, on the other side of it, we've seen heads roll on this team in years past, and it hasn't done them very well as either. So I'm just not sure at this juncture who's got the right answer here.
To some degree, what he was doing was putting the responsibility on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. It's up to me. I've got to get the talent. This is not about coaching, whether it's the head coach or the assistant coaches. It's not about the coach in the minors. It's about the talent that's being brought into the organization, and that's my job. That was what he was saying to a large degree. I don't think he was saying that things are unrelentingly upbeat. There was friction, there was tension there. I think what he was saying was he believes in the plan they have, that it will work. But he knows that there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I would firmly agree with that. That came up actually with the scouting staff and with the assistant coaches on both fronts. He said himself that it's up to me to give them the right personnel so that their record looks better, as opposed to them improving their jobs.
Maddie, you were at the press conference too.
It's a little different sentiment from Craig McTavish than Brian Murray in Ottawa, who ran threw his coach almost under the bus by saying that Paul McLean had to coach a lot better this year than he did the year before, and his personality had changed from arm around the shoulders to in the player's face, and that Spezza, their captain, might be traded too. So a little different sentiment with a team that missed the playoffs. I don't have a problem with what Craig says. He is the general manager. He knows more about what's going on, what he's thinking, than we do. I'm sure if you're an amateur scout with the draft coming up, you're probably thrilled that he said everything's rosy, because there are a lot of teams that have scouts go to the draft and then their contracts run out 5 days later and they don't have a job. At least he's saying ahead of time before the draft, I like the job you guys are doing. He did not say you better pick the right guy in this year's draft. But it was certainly a vote of confidence.
But I also want to say Ottawa went from the playoffs to being out of the playoffs. We're talking about a team that's been out of the playoffs.
That is very true. Who thought that June 19th, 2006 would be the last playoff game that we covered? Yeah. And I remember being exhausted after the 2.5 months, but I'd certainly long for that again.